In 1 week's time, at the time you guys are listening to this, John Cena is going to have the final match of his career. Now, at the time of this recording on November 22nd, 2025, we do not know who John Cena's final opponent will be. That is because of my schedule and our schedules. We could not get a better recording date closer to the time period. But I am here with the two wrestling fans that have been on Brandon's world the most, my two dearest wrestling soulmates in the world, Michael Reiner, Jalen Sandvick. They are here to help me today do something that we have promised to do since the beginning of this retirement tour that I have dubbed the Eras Tour for Men, kicked off January 6th, 2025 in the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles, California. And that is to rank John Cena's top 10 matches of all time. And of course, the only match that we will not have seen prior to this is the match that's going down at Survivor Series with Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. With that said, Jay and Mike, how are we doing today?
I'm fired up, man. I got iced coffee to my left. I got a breakfast sandwich to my right. I got the fireplace kicking. We're fired up down here at the Sandvick house, all right? Everybody's fired up. Never seen 17. Back at it.
Jalen, I cannot agree with you more, brother. I'm sitting here in my home in Wellsville, Ohio. Got some wrestling memorabilia in the back. Got, of course, my Steelers stuff. But you see at the back of what would be my left shoulder, is a Ric Flair wrestling boot. And I could just say that, out of all the guys that are thought of in WWE lore, John Cena is definitely in the top 5. Merch driver, all-time great babyface, and what a great memorable run he's had this year. Ready to hash it out. We're ready to get into it. We're not going to agree on most of the things that are happening on this show, but that's all right. We're in a triple threat match right now, gentlemen. What do you think?
I like it.
And I will say we have a total list of about 20 matches that we have all come up with. So how we came up with this was I made my list of top 10 matches. Jaylen made his list. Mike made his list. Then I put them all together. And we're going to cut this down from about 20 matches to 10. There is only one match on this list that is not a one-on-one match, and we'll get there. So the way we're going to do this is there are 3 matches that we all agreed are going to make the list. We'll start with those matches. Then we're going to move to the matches that 2 or 3 of us had on our list. And then we'll move to the matches that only one of us had on our list. And obviously that person at that point can make their case. So we're going to do this in chronological order based off how we all came up with our list. So the first match that we all agreed on in chronological order is for the WWE Championship, and it took place at ECW One Night Stand 2006 with Rob Van Dam. And most of us had this within our top 3.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's kind of like, it's like the best way to put it. It's like Aaron Rodgers going to play at Soldier Field, like the hostile environment, the fuck you see. I don't know if I can say that on this show, but we can't.
Go ahead.
The fuck you Cena, you're a pussy, you can't wrestle. The toilet paper, the guy throwing the shirt back, the hostile environment, Paulie dangerously counting the 3, which makes no sense. You can even hear Taz on commentary say, oh, well, fucking all right. Like that, it reminds me of just Bird going into Staples Center and that type of vibe, like the anti-hero, like, fuck this guy, he's trying to ruin our company.
Well, and to your point, Jalen, again, with all the profanity, I think that's maybe the most memorable aspect of this match is the environment.
Well, that's where the You Can't Wrestle really started for Cena. We've heard it for years, but that crowd in that ballroom that night was as loud as ever, and it was You Can't Wrestle, and it was the most hostile. I've seen a lot of crowds. I've been in a lot of crowds. That was the most fired up, hostile crowd But for me, the most memorable is if Cena wins, we riot. So that's why I put it there.
Go ahead, Mike.
I would definitely agree with you, Jalen, because when you look at this match, I mean, we had a whole year-long campaign of John Cena actually being a heel, but this was actually maybe John Cena's best match as a heel. He was walking into enemy territory, like you said, against one of the all-time great in-ring performers, and really, I mean, Rob Van Dam. This was Rob Van Dam's finest hour and the finest hour of the ECW reboot, and probably its most ECW's most mainstream moment on a national stage. But one thing I wanted to bring up from my past was about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Austin Theory for an interview. One of the men who was one of John Cena's final opponents at WrestleMania. And Austin Theory told me in this interview when I asked him, "What's the match that made you a fan? What was the match that you go back when you were a child and made you think, I want to do this and I want to be a bad guy?" He said, ECW One Night Stand, John Cena, Rob Van Dam. Because you know what? John Cena was a bad guy in this environment. It was kind of a throwback to the old territory days and the way that people used to react to different wrestlers, but he created a star. And I think that's a universal theme that we're going to go back and forth on with this list. John Cena, his credit to the business, outside of Make-A-Wish and all the great things he did as a person, he created a lot of stars in the industry and made a lot of great all-time moments. And this one stands out for sure. I think it was at a time where he was almost unbeatable as a performer. So I think a lot of people thought, this was, just for me as a child, Jalen, Brandon, remember, it was pretty shocking to see RVD win the championship at the time. Now as an adult, you see why that happened. But at the time, it felt like a major moment. And I think that the Carnage and carrying on the Edge rivalry helps it really stand out on this list for me. It's one of my It's one of my all-time favorite matches. And I even have a DVD set of Cena's where the unedited version of the match still exists. And I'll go back and watch it time and time again.
So I think we all agree this match is 100% going to be on the list.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
No question.
Speaking of Edge, Michael Reiner, you brought him up. Everybody knows my favorite wrestler of all time. My favorite match of his with John Cena is next on our list. In my own town of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, with the Rated R Spinner Championship belt hanging high above the ring. You mentioned Cena working as a heel, Mike, against RVD. Arguably, he was almost working as a heel in this match as well, as, of course, Edge was maybe the biggest heel in the business at the time. This really capped off their legendary 2006 feud. We remember going into this match where Cena threw Edge into the cesspool. You had, of course, Edge giving Cena the brass knucks to win in Cena's hometown in Boston at SummerSlam the month before. And now they have one final match in tables, ladders, and chairs. The epic AA off the ladder through the double tables to end the match is, I think, an iconic moment in wrestling history. And for me, this is 100% on the list.
Oh, yeah, 100%, Brandon. And when I go back and watch this match, I just get so happy because I could remember that same promo that you're just stating. A match you've never had, a match I've never lost. That raised the stakes for this match, and it really capped off their rivalry. It's John Cena's best story rivalry, in my opinion. I mean, you could probably say Edge and CM Punk are right at the top of the list, but this match was perfect. This match was it. And it just, Jim Ross's commentary, as he's lifting Edge, up above himself for that AA. And I'm not going to say the curse word because I'm a little bit more PG, but Jim Ross says, John Cena is the baddest SOB around. And he throws him off the ladder. And it's just those ones that stick out, especially in the years 05 to 07, as we're going to get into on this list. They really put into account how they created John Cena as the top good guy. And Edge, again, one of the best pure bad guys of all time. There was no one more hated at that time. And Really, Toronto, Canada, really one of the best nights in Toronto wrestling history, and that was one of the best pay-per-views for the WWE, maybe of that era. And it probably only had 6 matches on the show, and they were all very good.
They were all phenomenal matches. I think for me, the reason I put this year was just so I obviously was only 1 year old in '06, so I
What?
didn't. Yeah, yeah.
How old are you?
I'm only 20, sir.
Oh my goodness.
I'm only 20, but that's what I mean. I love wrestling, man. I've dissected all of these. I remember, like, if you talk to me like you just did, you would have no idea if I didn't say anything, just because I've watched all these all these matches my whole life. And for me, it was so cool. Like, I thought it was so cool that Edge was such a horrible person, but he went into his hometown and he had the crowd behind him. That's when I kind of started rooting for the bad guys. Like, in my peak wrestling phase, I root for CM Punk because I just thought it was so cool that he's hated everywhere, but when he goes back home, he's the hero. And that AA off the table, I remember that call, Jim Ross.
Yep.
Nothing better than it. And Cena stood tall on top of the ladder with possibly the coolest championship in wrestling, I will say. The Rated R spinner belt is so sick, but that match for me was just iconic, just because you had Ed slapping his dad, you had him going into the cesspool, you had there was just so many story elements. That match necessarily didn't have to be great because of the story, but it was also great on top of the story, so that's why I put it there.
And I think the theme early on that we'll see, especially with the earlier matches, is maybe not so much the match itself, even though the matches were great. It's you remember the build, or you remember a specific moment, or you remember the crowd. And when I made this list, I took it all into account.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely going up there, because there's definitely a lot of matches on here that are strictly story, I feel like.
For sure. And speaking of a story, we all, I think, remember this one. Jalen, you may be a little bit too young to fully remember the complete build, but Money in the Bank 2011 was,
Oh, absolutely not. Oh, absolutely not, Brandon. You're speaking my language right now. Let's go.
I think that this match is kind of what started, in my opinion, to blur the lines of what's reality, what is social media, because there was all this talk about CM Punk leaving with a WWE contract, and his contract really up, and what does this mean? And it's going to be in Chicago, and the way they presented it on TV was basically that everybody needed to root for John Cena, because if CM Punk won the championship, WWE wouldn't have a champion. And Chicago went in there last night, or on that night, and this was the last time CM Punk used the "This Fire Burns" theme song, the iconic, if Cena wins, we riot, the booing out of the building. It was almost as hostile, I would say, as the RVD one night stand match. And these two put on an absolute instant classic of a match. I think, especially in John Cena's years where he was Super Cena, this was maybe his best match. There's so many moments, and the iconic go to sleep at the end with CM Punk blowing the kiss to the crowd. Everything about this match felt like a 5-star main event prime time. This was the biggest match that you could put on. And for me, the whole storyline around it and the match itself is why it has to make this list, in my opinion.
Yeah, Brandon, I definitely agree with you. I remember this when I was growing up. I was about 14. And basically, whenever CM Punk did his pipe bomb promo, I remember where I was. I was actually sitting in this room. Okay. So I was sitting in this room, and I was just getting through a random Raw in 2011. I was in the 7th grade. And when he did the pipe bomb promo, it instantly made me get off my phone, not do what I was doing, and instantly pay attention. And what resulted in that, like you talked about, Brandon, it was the creation of an era, but it was maybe John Cena's best credit as a wrestler ever. He made a star that became a first ballot Hall of Famer. CM Punk became a first ballot Hall of Famer because of this match with John Cena. It was maybe the greatest match. It's probably, I mean, if we were all ranking our list, I mean, I'll ask you, Jalen, straight up. Is this your number one Cena match? I think it is. There's nothing, I mean, there's nothing that tops this one. For every wrestling fan, you have to watch this match with all the elements, with Laurinaitis, with Mr. McMahon. Like, I think it's definitely in the top 10 matches in WWE history, just because it has everything. It has near falls, it has storytelling, it has John Cena gripping with wanting to be a corporate sellout or not. It's just beautiful. And it's definitely, it blurs the lines, and it created a new star. It created a guy that's a WrestleMania main eventer in CM Punk, and it created this groundswell of support for independent wrestling in the long run. I mean, what are your memories of that, Jalen?
Okay, so this was a year before I got into wrestling. I got into wrestling in 2012 when Brock Lesnar came back because I was sitting on the couch with my dad and we were just flipping channels. And it was when Brock was doing the promos for when he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna beat the hell out of Cena," and I'm gonna love every minute of it. But prior to that, I remember seeing clips on the internet of the pipe bomb, and I'm breaking the fourth wall. Hi, Cole Command. I was like, holy crap! Like, you can't, because my dad was a wrestling fan, and I knew about kayfabe. I knew about all that, so it was very, because I knew about the screw job. My dad showed me the screw job when I was very young. So I knew you couldn't really do that. You couldn't say Colt Cabana. And then I started doing research on Colt Cabana and stuff like that. So it really opened my eyes to more wrestling. But what I remember most about that match, for me, because CM Punk is my favorite wrestler of all time. Brandon knows this. CM Punk is my GOAT. I just remember him coming out to Fire Burns, and it just felt like the building was going to lift off the ground. Like, when that music hit and he got on his knees, you saw the whole city of Chicago just rise for this man. They look at Punk like he's a god of some sort. Like,
I've said this before. I think you can make a case as outside of Michael Jordan, CM Punk may be the second most popular sports athlete in Chicago history.
They love. Imagine. Let me put this in perspective. Imagine if he came back to AEW in Charlotte. You're not getting that pop. You're not. Imagine if he came back to Survivor Series. Because I'm pretty sure that was in Chicago, correct?
Yeah, it was.
Twice in a year, this man has shown up in Chicago, and they exploded for this man. They will go to war for this man, and that's what it felt like. It felt like it wasn't just John Cena versus CM Punk. It was John Cena versus Chicago. That's
a good point.
It wasn't one-on-one. It was Cena versus... It literally felt like Cena had to fight thousands of crazy Chicago MFers, mother effers, just like Punk was, and it was just pure magic. It worked every time, and then the kiss to Vince McMahon and the wave. Oh, it was so awesome. That's why it's up there for me. I keep it up there.
Now we're going to get into the list that two of us had on our top 10 list. Me and Mike had this one. This was the London Raw with John Cena and Shawn Michaels. This match went about an hour. You know, it allowed for Edge and Randy Orton to not be on that night. This was obviously the time where the internet didn't exist and nobody knew whether this was the plan or not. I think that if you're going to find a match in 2007 that's a 5-star match, you know, before the era of all these great matches started, watch this match. You know, I don't think Shawn Michaels can ever have a bad match. There were just near finishes, near falls, and this was right after their rematch at WrestleMania, which I think even more raises the stakes of this match. And the fact that it happened on network television and that we still remember it to this day, I think is a big thing because most of the matches on our list are POEs.
Yeah, Brandon, I agree with this one wholeheartedly because it was very classic in the mentality of this is not for the championship, it is just to see who the better man is. I thought it was an interesting concept. I think they would have a hard time pulling this one off again with any two different performers. Great match. And the best part of it, it is not an Iron Man match. It is a regular singles match that went 60 minutes long. I understand that we have an Iron Man match on this list, and I watched the first 10 minutes of it and didn't enjoy it. So I didn't put it on my list. But this match with Shawn Michaels was everything that's great about this era and everything that's great about this era of Shawn Michaels. When it was a big match with anybody, this man showed up. And you know what? With the London crowd and everybody into it, this is definitely Cena's best Raw match. I think a lot of people they like to throw all the new gen guys in there. Cesaro match, Sami Zayn match, the CM Punk match. This match for me is at the top. Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler and by far probably the best in-ring performer of all time. And it's just this is Cena's best Raw match to me. Had all the elements with a super kick and a W at the end for HBK.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome that my favorite wrestler, Jalen's favorite wrestler, and Mike, your favorite wrestler, we all have one match on this list, at least from all three of them. Which again shows I think how versatile John Cena is. Jalen, you said before you were very close to having this match on your list.
So yes, this is why, Brandon, I didn't turn to my list till about Thursday at noonish. It's because I was sitting up at my desk and I was like, I love this match. I really do. I love all the elements, but I love the WrestleMania 23 match slightly more than I like this one. But I will say, if you guys want to put it up there, we can, because of one reason. It was free television. You didn't have to pay $60, $70 for the pay-per-view. It was free television, and it was pure magic. So I could see why this is up there for you guys as well.
For me, that's what tops the WrestleMania match. Is this one not only went 60, but it was on Raw. It was unexpected because it was just a random match, and it wasn't for the title. And they gave Shawn the victory, which at that time, even though Cena had lost matches, every time Cena was in a match, you just expected him to mostly win.
Yeah, that is another thing. This was like 2007 Super Cena. A lot of kids from my era, a lot of adults, you'll hear, oh, 2010 he was Super Cena, he buried Nexus. No, this was Super Cena, army shorts. Like this was incredible.
All right, so we'll definitely table that one. It's certainly potential on the list. For me, now, Mike, you did not have this one on your list, and we can talk about why. But for me, I think this is the greatest build to a match ever because it is once in a lifetime. It was done a year out. It was John Cena versus The Rock. And I believe to this day, it may still be one of the most bought WrestleManias of all time. It certainly got people talking about wrestling for a full year that didn't talk about wrestling. And it felt like, you were watching two icons in their prime go one-on-one for the first time ever. Now, again, maybe the fact they do the rematch the next year and it was mostly a finisher fest, I could see why then this one maybe doesn't get the recognition it deserves because they almost did the same thing the year after. But for me, with the entrances, with Machine Gun Kelly, and then you have Flow Rider, you have the Rock concert in the build, you have the John Cena rap, you have all the things that led up to this match. And then, of course, you have the iconic moment in the match where Cena goes for the rock bottom. The Rock edges him 1, 2, 3. John Cena sitting on the stage at the end of WrestleMania 28, looking like Cody Rhodes did at the end of WrestleMania 39. To me, is one of the most iconic pictures of John Cena's career. And I think this was the match that really started the downfall of the 2012 John Cena. And I would say right after the Punk match, this is what really made people start to turn on Cena. And then you really started to hear the John Cena sucks chants.
Was this? Yeah, I'll let you go, Jalen, because this was on your list.
Yeah. So, this is very special to me because this was my first WrestleMania. MGK coming out with the Cleveland tank top across his chest, getting booed out of the building in Miami. This is LeBron is peak villain in the NBA. MGK coming out, Cleveland tattooed all over his body. That meant something to me. And then the build-up, having John Cena come out in a throwback Mark Price jersey and freestyle in my hometown was very special to me. The Rock concert was phenomenal as always, the build. It felt like everything was centered around Cena and Rock, because if you remember, there was a bunch of mini storylines. There was the Zack Ryder and Kane thing with Cena, but Cena wasn't focused on that fully because why? In a year he's got to face the Great One. He's got to go one-on-one. So it was and the match itself was just here. I mean, we haven't seen The Rock wrestle in a long time, and he stepped in that squared circle like he hadn't missed a beat. And yeah, the iconic picture on the stage was, you couldn't write a better story. I mean, you couldn't have set this up better. This was perfect. This was there. I don't see any flaw in this match. I think the right person won, and they had a follow up one of the greatest Hell in a Cell matches of all time. If I'm wrong,
no, that is another good point. That this match main evented, and that Hell in a Cell match with Taker and Triple H, and Mike was the referee, was maybe one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time in itself, right? And the crowd did not lose interest in this match at all.
No, they couldn't lose interest. They waited a year long for this. You can't lose interest in this. The crowd was still hot. And I love the fact that Rock kept Cena waiting. If you remember, there was like a 5-minute gap where Cena's just running the ropes. I love the mind games there. That's a big thing for me. I love that. And I don't know. There's just something special about this match. Maybe because it was my first Mania and it'll forever hold a special spot in my heart. But very
all right, go ahead, Mike.
The reason why I didn't put this on there, I was close to putting this on there. They did it again the next year, like the exact same thing. I think it damages the rep of this match, the reputation, and I think also it wasn't the best match on this entire show. This match was loaded with good. This show was loaded with good matches. You had, The Undertaker, Triple H, Hell in a Cell, Punk and Jericho faced each other for the WWE title. I kind of feel like this show is known for the Hell in a Cell, and I feel like with the Cena Rock follow up the next year, I think it hurts its credibility.
Jalen, do you want to comment on that?
I think it does. Like you it's literally almost the exact same match the next year. The fact that they didn't put CM Punk in the triple threat the next year hurts the 28 one. I think it absolutely does. Listen, guys, the whole tagline of this whole thing was that you guys said it's once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime.
And they literally did it the next year.
So I agree. Mike, I'm not going to sit here and say you're completely wrong. I wholeheartedly agree with you. But my
For me, I guess I'll put it this way. I don't think you could tell John Cena's career without this match.
Absolutely not. I 100% agree with you. I think that my kids are gonna watch that match and they're gonna be like, Dad, what was this like? What was it like being my age, sitting here on the living room floor, looking up at the TV, seeing these two icons go at it? Like, it wasn't. They did it the next year, and that match sucked. That match was awful. That match was possibly the worst.
Here's my thing. The build was similar, but the 29 match was nothing but a finisher fest.
The 29 match didn't exist. All right, let's just wipe that from our memory. If we can wipe it,
but it can't. But it has to exist. So that's the issue, and that's what Mike is saying about this match. And I get it from both sides. I just think you spent a whole year telling a story about this match. John Cena's entire 2011 and 2012 really revolved around this match.
He even said it in the 29 build-up. 2011, you beat me at WrestleMania, and I spiraled. My personal life, he got a divorce. He threw that in there. I spiraled. I was losing to everybody. He lost to John Laurinaitis, for God's sake.
He lost to Dolph Ziggler. Remember when Big E made his debut in that TLC match?
Yeah, and AJ pushed him off. Was that when AJ pushed him off the ladder?
Yes.
Yep. Well, remember too, he also lost to Lord Tensai, if you guys remember.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So we'll table this. We'll come back to it. I want to move on because both of you have this match on your list, and I did not. And the reason why is because, yes, it's a good match and it's a memorable match, and AJ Styles went over John Cena clean. It was great. But I think they had two better matches, better than this one. And so for me, that's why it sort of knocked this one down. It was also a non-title match. You know, I remember which we'll get to next. I remember the Royal Rumble match a lot more than I remember this one.
So I picked this one just because of the time period. I thought it was super cool that AJ Styles was in the WWE at the time, and you would probably agree, Jalen. But I picked this match just because it was one of the few times where, I mean, at the time, John Cena had lost clean on pay-per-view without any outside interference, and it really created the whole year and a half of AJ Styles. This was especially at a time where Vince McMahon was in control of things, and there was no guarantee AJ Styles was really going to work out. I mean, earlier that year, AJ Styles had lost his Mania match against Jericho in the undercard. So we had no guarantee that AJ Styles was going to work out and have a Hall of Fame career like he has had. This match was amazing. I think Cena must have kicked out, or AJ must have kicked out of a top rope AA. Just disgusting. Just sweet match. Like, just we built that story, and AJ Styles was off to the races after that.
You could make an argument this did put AJ on the WWE map. I'll hear you on that. But they also had a Money in the Bank match the month before, too.
Hold on, Brandon. Hold on. I understand that. I understand that. But realistically, okay, because Money in the Bank that year, 2016, correct? Yes. Was that the year that Ambrose won?
Yes.
And cashed? Okay, hear me out. We were busy watching a Game 7 here in Cleveland. Okay, hear me out here. That was the same night as Game 7.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. So listen, for us Cleveland boys, this is why we put this first, because we weren't really attentive to Money in the Bank. Okay, and as a TNA lover, okay, I loved Prime TNA. Angle, Joe, Styles,
I did too. I watched it every week. Which is why I think you can make the argument, like Mike was saying, that we didn't know if AJ was going to work in WWE. A lot of people still watched TNA at the time, and like I was a big AJ Styles fan. I knew who he was, and again, I'm one of the more casual wrestling fans out there. So,
stop it! You're not casual. You just like.
I'm surprised. Listen, I'm surprised the Great Khali wasn't on this list. I wasn't going to throw it in. Listen, Jalen, when I was in the studio one time and Brandon brought up the Great Khali match, it was like, okay, I'm walking out. Like,
wait, which one did I bring up? The One Night Stand 07 where he ate him off the stage, the Post Count Anywhere match?
Yeah, but see, I think we're 2 against 1 on you, Brandon. I can't really see how you could win this one. I mean, I know you have
Yeah,
I know
this
you
was-
have. I know you have another AJ match on this list. I get it, but I
Yeah.
just think this one was better. Sorry, we're allowed to have that discussion. So,
For me-
now okay.
For me, this one tops the AJ Styles match because they never left the ring. And this was the one where John Cena won his 16th WWE Championship. You have Mauro Ronaldo screaming at the top of his lungs, Super Cena. I think this is maybe the second best match of his whole career. It's up there to me with CM Punk and Money in the Bank 2011 for me.
So, did you pick this one, Jalen?
I did. Okay, so my second favorite wrestler is AJ Styles, and when he showed up in the as people would call it, the A company, when he showed up here, this was the one that immediately popped in my head was Cena and AJ. Let's get it done. My two childhood heroes colliding. I still think I'd put the SummerSlam one over just because I don't think it was for a title. Yes, this was for 16, but the one at SummerSlam was just too phenomenal.
Okay.
See what I did there? Phenomenal wrestlers going at it, and it was just pure magic. There was nothing on the line. Yes, 16 is sweet, but it doesn't matter. If you tie it, you tie it. It's like LeBron if you win 6. If you tie it, you tie it. You don't beat the record.
This was also, I will add real quick before you go, Mike. This was, I believe, the debut of the Cena roll through AA for the victory, where he AA'd him, rolled over, hit him again, and that was like the 5th AA of the match, I believe.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, so let me ask you this, Brandon. So we're all for discussion here. So, like, say if I make a great sandwich.
Okay.
Say I make a phenomenal sandwich. Best
Okay.
sandwich I ever made. Doesn't matter where I eat the sandwich.
No.
There you go. Doesn't matter that they didn't leave the ring. To me, that doesn't matter. You know.
Okay.
Secondly, like Jalen said, like it's just you could kind of predict the way the build was happening that Cena was going to win.
No, that's fair. I think
So, like-
that's a better argument to the SummerSlam match than this one, is that Cena was projected to win. And also, I think the fact that he lost the title the next month at Elimination Chamber may hurt this even more. I don't know.
I just think I get it why a lot of people love this match. I think they think it's the bookend to the rivalry. But again, like your only real argument is that they never left the ring, but it's like there were years and years and years and years prior where they didn't leave the ring. And like I said, like whether I eat this room in my eat this sandwich in my room or eat the sandwich in the kitchen, it doesn't matter. You know,
It's still going to taste great. Yeah.
It's still going to taste great, like because they're two great performers. But what makes this different from the SummerSlam one to me is that it was entirely too predictable.
Okay. So what I'm hearing from you guys is for sure the SummerSlam match is on the list.
100%.
100%.
Which I'm okay with. So these are the matches, just to update you guys. These are the matches that we so far, I think 100% agree on, is the RVD Edge, CM Punk Money in the Bank 2011, and then the AJ Styles SummerSlam 2016. I think we're close on the Shawn Michaels London match, but we'll talk about the WrestleMania 23 match in a little bit. The last one that 2 or 3 of us agreed on, me and Mike had this on the list. I think that by far, this is John Cena's best match of the retirement tour. I think this is the match that stopped people saying that Cena can't wrestle anymore after what the heel run was. We have John Cena running down to the ring as a babyface for the first time, since Elimination Chamber. You have the crowd pretty much fully behind Cena for the most part, even though Cody was a face. Then Cody gets him behind later in the match, but you have the AA from the top rope, you have the crossroads in the top rope, you have the Cody cutter, you have just every move they could possibly throw at each other, and they're kicking out. And by about 75% of the way through the match, at that point, I had no idea who the hell was going to win the match. I said it at the time, I thought it was one of the best matches I've seen live, just sitting there watching it. And so for me, I would put this somewhere. I'm not going to say it's near the top of the list, but I think it definitely has an argument to be on there.
Yeah, I was wrestling back and forth with myself on whether I wanted to put this in the top 5. I think it's definitely in the top 5. I think I put it at 6. But I think this match was outstanding. It was the best moment other than the heel turn of the John Cena retirement tour. I think it'll be better than the last match, whatever it'll be. I think it surpassed everybody's expectations. Everybody was thinking there was going to be a Cody Rhodes heel turn, a John Cena back to a heel turn, The Rock's involvement, and I think it just a straight up Donnybrook surpassed everyone's expectations. This one felt a lot to me like Hogan Rock WrestleMania 18 in the element of, when Hogan came out in Toronto, everybody was just showering him with that love. And I think the same thing happened with Cena in this match. It was incredible, and it's probably, it'll go down as Cena's last World Championship match, and it was outstanding. Definitely deserves to be on here, and probably your 2025 match of the year. For anybody, match of the year in 2025.
Jalen, go ahead.
Maybe I didn't put this one here because I was more focused on like nostalgia reasons, which is what I was sort of thinking like that's why I went RVD, Punk, Styles. I did older stuff, but this match was very incredible. I believe this is the match where they went under the stage and
yes,
rose up.
To me, the iconic moment of Cena being when he comes up and he has the look like he's going to turn heel again.
Yeah, like he looks like the devil in his eyes. You could see he's basically risen from hell essentially, and he's carrying this lifeless man to win 17, and that was very iconic. So I could see why this would crack the top 10, but if we're gonna put it anywhere, I would probably put it at 7 or 8.
That's fair. Okay, so now, guys, let's get into the matches that only one of you had. So I'm going to watch you guys or me, whoever had it, make their case. Jalen, you're going to make the case first here because this is John Cena's first ever WWE Championship win against JBL at WrestleMania 21.
For me, this is a big one because when I first got into wrestling, I got a DVD, Legends of WrestleMania, and this was on there, and I watched this match like crazy, and this to me is iconic because this is really the start of Cena being the guy. You had that WrestleMania as a whole was massive for the company. You had Batista win the world title. You had John win the WWE Championship. You had JBL's entrance was just a bunch of $100 bills. I don't know if you guys remember. It was just a bunch of $100 bills falling from the sky, which is so iconic to me. And JBL had control of this match until about the last 5 to 10 minutes. But the reason I put this here is because this is really the turning point where they were like, all right, the rapping gimmick worked. We're going to strap the title on him. We're going to strap a rocket to him, essentially, and see where this goes. And that was the next 15 to 20 years of wrestling was John Cena.
I agree, but I think my issue with it is it didn't main event, which, I think if it main evented over Batista and Triple H, I think you might have had a case because what that tells me is, Raw was obviously still the A show at the time. They did move John Cena over to Raw shortly after. But I think the defining moment of that WrestleMania was Batista winning the world title and Edge winning the Money in the Bank. Not so much Cena winning his first WWE title. That's just me.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Brandon. There was so much on the show. There was the Money in the Bank. There was also Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle, which is
there was Ray and
Eddie
Guerrero. There was Undertaker and Randy Orton.
Undertaker and Legend Killer Randy Orton.
Yes.
like Mission Impossible style, like I'm gonna like steal your girl, Randy Orton, like in the Undertaker. So
I'm gonna
like
light a casket on fire, Randy
I'm
Orton.
gonna light a casket on fire, Randy Orton. Like so like here let's so put this into context. This was probably like one of my average parts of the entire WrestleMania 21 card for me. I also think my pick with JBL on this list is a much more impactful match. And I, at the time, Cena hadn't won the Royal Rumble. Cena won a number one contender match at No Way Out. I think he was on the cusp, but I don't think he was in the engaging storyline of the year building up to WrestleMania. I think that was reserved for Batista and Triple H and Evolution. So I don't think just because he won it the first time doesn't mean it's his most impactful in ring match.
I'm okay with that.
I agree, and I think this match that Mike you put with JBL was probably his most memorable JBL match because it was an I Quit match for the WWE Championship.
Did you put it on your list? I want to know.
I did not know, so you were the only one that had this on the list. I think it's just because I know JBL is a big rival of his, but I never thought of this as like, a top 10 match. I just think there's so many other storylines and opponents and I guess better matches than this match. Like this to me wasn't even in consideration. I totally, until you added on your list, I had to go back because I didn't remember this match even existing, to be honest with you.
So you went back and watched the match.
I did.
Okay. So it didn't make your list after you watched it.
No, it did not.
Okay. So here's my logic behind this. Okay. Because we all have to make our argument in these rapid fire ones. This was the match that proved to everybody that Cena could have a war with somebody. This was the match that proved that he could go out there and have a fun, hardcore match. You could put the world title on anybody. You could put the world title on me. And that, in that feel-good moment, whatever. But, like, the story is about Cena overcoming obstacles and about, being strong, physical, really brawling it out with one of the toughest in-ring performers of the era. Physically, all I could remember was John having a gusher and him bleeding it out.
Yeah, I remember this.
And him holding up that pipe.
Yes.
That was what made JBL quit because JBL feared John Cena. I think that's a huge element of what makes a great babyface.
Great point.
The heel has to fear the might, the power, and the heart of the babyface and the heart of the champion. And I think this match is criminally overlooked because every big star, every one of them, has a match where you've got to prove that, hey, I'm a bad man. I'm a bad SOB or whatever. And I think this is an incredible Cena match. It is criminally underrated. And I think the I Quit stipulation makes the match.
Mike, I think you might have convinced me, Jalen.
Yeah. I completely forgot about the moment where he's spilling blood like a pig at a pig roast, and he's just hoisting that pipe like he's Hercules or something. I haven't seen that or watched that match in a long time. As a matter of fact, after we hop off the recording here, I think I know what I'm gonna do.
It sounds like to me like I think this match is gonna make the list.
It definitely might make the list. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to a match that, Mike, you also had on your list. This was the Royal Rumble in 2007, Cena against Umaga.
Forgotten match here. I didn't realize how old Jalen actually is, but it's a forgotten match, okay? For a lot of reasons, Umaga is one of the greatest characters of all time. And I'm going to give it to you straight because he could work in any era. He would be an amazing heel for Hogan in the 80s. He would have done a WrestleMania main event with Hogan. In the 90s, would have been a great Undertaker opponent. What I want to mention this because they built an entire year of building up Umaga. He did not lose a single match.
Good point.
Up until New Year's Revolution at the earlier of the month. And I think the build up to a good physical Cena match was huge. And I think the ending of this match was awesome. He locked him in the STF and he choked him out with the ring rope, which I don't think has ever been done again.
No, you're right.
I don't think anyone has ever done it. So, like, I think go back and watch this match. Incredible stuff. Umaga, all-time great performer, one of the best monster heels of all time. Never gets talked about because it was for a brief run, but man, was he tough. And this is definitely, in a Royal Rumble in San Antonio, it was incredible. It was an incredible match on an incredible show. Go back and watch it. Choked him out with the ring rope. Like,
So I had this on my list. This was on my list originally, and I swapped it out for a match that we'll get into later. That I'm pretty sure only I put on my list. But this was on my list, so I'm not disagreeing with you. Umaga is a great character. Other than the fact that they made him drop the IC title to Santino Marella, but that's besides my point. That we'd talk about that another day. That boils me every day. But Umaga was just a monster, and Cena going in there, choking him out with the ring rope was so dope. I thought it was the coolest thing. So this could be up there for me for sure. But
Right,
I think I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I think that I want to keep it off the list because of the one that I replaced it with.
Okay. Well, we'll get into that, Jalen. Go ahead and real quick make your case for the WWE Championship. We already talked about this a little bit with the London match, so I think we'll be quick here. But why do you think this one was better than the London match?
I put this one here because it is WrestleMania, and for one simple move, I believe this is where Shawn did the moonsault off the apron.
Yeah.
And
I would say this is Cena's most iconic entrance, I would argue, with the car driving through Ford Field.
And CM Punk holding the Tommy gun, foreshadowing being a gangster.
I just think, believe it or not, this show was most memorable for the Donald Trump, Vince McMahon hair versus hair match. And this was a good match, but there was so much that happened on this show that I think this match gets overshadowed a little bit. And I just thought their London match was a better in-ring work match.
I will say we could take this off and put Michael Cena Raw just because it was free television. I think that wins you guys that argument.
Okay.
For sure.
So I think
I
think when you look at this match, I think it was more predictable than the other one. You guys are noticing a theme here with some of my choices.
Yeah.
But it's just that's my argument is that the Raw match was better.
Let's get into two matches with Randy Orton now, which, Jalen, this was on your list, the I Quit match at Breaking Point 2009. I find it weird that we only have two Orton matches on this list, and they're both in 2009.
Because that was, other than Legend Killer Randy, this was the version of Randy that was psychotic Randy. This was kissing Stephanie McMahon after the DDT. This was prime, probably going to make a little girl cry if she looks him in the eyes, Randy Orton. I put this here for one simple reason. I could be way off on this one, but this was when Cena got handcuffed, correct? Just pinataed with that kendo stick, and he was in there for what, five or something. It was ugly. And he just took it, and I just remember rewatching this as a little kid, like horrified, and that's what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to horrify you, and it did. It was gross. It was disgusting, and I put this up there for that simple fact.
Go ahead, Mike.
This was at a time period where I started to get where my fandom started to leave a little bit. Honestly, I don't remember watching this match, but A lot of the Cena Orton matches were slow and prodding, and I think, I think by the sounds of it, this was a good match, and the way the finish was, but I honestly don't remember it that much. And a lot of these matches with Randy Orton from this era seem like a lot of the same to me, and they didn't really result in anything different happening because of them. So I didn't put an Orton match on.
The only thing that I remember most outside of the handcuffs was Cena using the handcuffs with the kendo stick and the STF to make Randy Orton say "I quit."
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a memorable finish. I believe they did another match after this though. That I think of on your list.
They did the Hell in a Cell match, and then they had mine, which I had on here at bragging rights. And I only remember this match because it was a 60 minutes, no disqualification, no count out. The last match in their feud. This coming down to the final seconds of Randy Orton tapping out with almost no time left. Orton trying to blow John Cena up with a pyro on the stage, which at the time as a little kid was scary. I admit it may not be the greatest wrestling match on earth. I just think it's a special match because I think it's rare that we get a 60-minute anything goes Iron Man match between these two guys. I think it's one of their most. It's the match that I remember the most between them both. Is why I put it on here. But I agree that I don't know if it necessarily deserves a spot.
Yeah, I mean, especially because for an Iron Man match, it's just like you're watching like the NBA or like some sort of basketball game. Like, I'm not gonna really pay attention until the last few minutes of an Iron Man. Like, I'm just not. Like, if you think about the logic of it, like, why would unless somebody gets down by a bunch of falls, and I saw the first 5-10 minutes of this match, and I was like, no, like, John put him in the STF in 5 minutes and got the first count. Would that ever happen if it was not an Iron Man match?
Yeah, good point.
So, would that ever happen if that was not an Iron Man match?
No, it definitely wouldn't.
Would Randy ever tap out?
No.
No.
I don't think he gets a spot. Although the pyro moment where it jams and he's yelling at pyro guy, "What'd you do?" That's very iconic, but I don't think he gets a spot.
Well, I also put this match on here because this was the number one contender match to face The Rock at WrestleMania 29. This was when CM Punk used the pile driver, which was, a banned move in WWE. And it was, one of those things where, again, there was no lot of interference. There was a lot of near falls. I think it may be Cena's second or third best Raw match ever behind that Shawn Michaels match in London. I don't think it's as good as the Money in the Bank match, but I think the stakes behind it, where as a little kid I was rooting so hard for Punk, or at least there to be a disqualification to make it a triple threat match at WrestleMania 29. Ultimately, the ending isn't what I wanted, but I remember being so hyped for this match and for it to be on free television after the match they had at Money in the Bank. I think to run it back one more time, which I believe this was the last time they interacted until CM Punk returned back to WWE. So for me, that's why it's on the list.
Go ahead, Jalen.
Yeah, I love this match. This was also close for me. I almost put this one on there, but I think it deserves a spot. One, because it was the last time they wrestled and interacted. Because then a year or so later, Punk was out the door. Punk was trashing the WWE anywhere he could. We saw Cena do things he's never done before. Hurricane Ranas. We saw two old friends, like old rivals, as they say, two old friends just hashing it out one more time on free television. They went for a while too. It wasn't a short match. It was great. It was great.
It was like a 30-minute match.
Yeah, it was a half hour long. It closed the show. And everyone said, even on commentary, they were like, "This is the last time they'll face each other. This is it." And you really didn't believe it because we didn't know all that stuff was going to happen in 2014. But it really was. It was the last time they interacted until a couple months ago, a year or so ago. So this, to me, deserves a spot.
I think this match deserves a spot as well. This was one of the ones I actually went back and watched recently over the past couple days. Loved the match, but I really wanted to try to highlight 9 other different opponents in my list.
I got you.
Or in my case, 10 different opponents. But like, I don't think it's above Money in the Bank whatsoever. And I think it only disappoints me because Punk should have been involved in the WrestleMania match in a triple threat. So
yeah,
it results in one of the worst booking decisions of the modern era. So I think with what happened later takes a little bit of the steam off it for me.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the match you had, Mike, which was Daniel Bryan, SummerSlam 2013.
Went back and watched this, and it was incredible. It was everything you'd want in a Cena match. Everybody was, all over Daniel Bryan at this point in time. It was one of the more organic builds of a wrestler ever. All began here. Did everything happen with Money in the Bank minutes later? Yeah, but when you think about the WWE YouTube page, they made a whole YouTube video all around this match and the cash-ins in a separate video. That's how good this match is.
And this is the match that really catapulted Daniel Bryan to get into the main event of WrestleMania 30.
Another made star from John Cena. It's one of the themes of my list. Different guys. I think, this might be one of Daniel Bryan's best matches in the company. Hands down. Definitely a top 10 match of Daniel Bryan in the WWE, and it definitely needs to be on here.
How many spots we got left, Brandon? I didn't mean to cut you off. How many spots we got?
Okay, so this is what I have so far that's at least on the list. RVD One Night Stand, Edge Unforgiven, Punk Money in the Bank 2011, AJ Styles 2016, JBL Judgment Day 2005, Punk 2013 Raw. So that would put us at 6. And then I have temporarily The Rock WrestleMania 28 and London Shawn Michaels, which I think we all agree the London Michaels is on there. So that would be 7. So we have 2 to 3 spots to play with. And I think the next match on our list is making it. I'll put that out there.
Okay, so honestly, it's not better than Rock Cena 28, but to me it mattered more. It built something.
This one mattered more than Rock Cena?
To me, because it built the Yes Movement. It built something. It built Daniel Bryan being a B-plus player and everyone telling him the authority. It built that. So I feel like that's got to stand for something.
Okay. Now, the next match, I think, should make our list. I didn't have it because to be honest with you, I don't know why I shouldn't have it. I should have had this. Lesnar Rollins. To me, this was a 5-star triple threat match. I think this is one of the best, if not the best, triple threat match I've ever seen. Everybody got their spots in. Cena didn't even take the fall in this match, which was crazy. But this match is more talked about than the Royal Rumble, which Roman Reigns won and got booed out of Philly, which I think says a lot about this match.
So let me ask you, Brandon, who had this on their list? Was it just me?
You did. Yep.
Nobody else. Okay. So
this was like 11 for me.
Okay.
This was 10 for me for a while. I had this at 10 for a while.
So here's my argument. Seth Rollins has had an illustrious career there. Was this maybe his first great match of his singles run? Because I wasn't watching Raw actively every single week. I think this might have been his best early match.
It definitely was. I'll agree with you there.
I mean, and out of all the Brock Lesnar matches, this with Cena, this is my favorite Lesnar match with Cena. And it just happens to include Seth Rollins with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And that's an interesting wrinkle, too. Could Cena have beat Lesnar? And could Rollins have cashed in? Could vice versa happen? But they decided not to do that. They made it interesting. They figured out a way to get Lesnar out of the match because that's what they had to do. And it was a barn burner. It was a classic. Philadelphia crowd loved it. Coming out party for Seth Rollins. If this match doesn't happen, does the cash in at WrestleMania happen?
Ooh, good point.
There it is. Yeah, I think this gets a spot. I think it gets a spot.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the match that you have on the list, Jalen, with Seth Rollins.
This one to me is iconic because the broken nose, obviously, the knee, taking the knee to the face. I remember
Yes.
vividly where I was. I was with my mother. We were sitting on the couch. It was summer, so I was allowed to stay up late and watch Raw. And I remember him taking that knee, and I said, "Oh, he just broke his nose." And my mom goes, "No, he didn't." And then they zoomed in, and it's all crooked, and he's gushing one. And it's the PGA era, keep in mind. So usually they would have doctors rush to him, but they didn't. And he's big, as JBL says, big match John. And that made me hate Seth Rollins even more than I already did. Oh, you broke Cena's nose. Are you serious? And it was overall, even without the broken nose, it was still a phenomenal match. It closed the show.
So real quick, Mike, before you go, I want to put this in perspective because I think we have 9 slots down. RVD One Night Stand, Edge Unforgiven, Punk Money in the Bank 2011, Daniel Bryan SummerSlam 2013. Again, no particular order yet. AJ Styles 2016, JBO Judgment Day 05, Punk The Raw 2013, HBK in London April 23rd, 2007, and then the triple threat match. So for me, these last couple matches on our list, I think we're debating between Rock and Cena Cody at SummerSlam of this year for number 10. That's where I'm at this point.
I agree. I agree with you.
I'm gonna stick with my guns on the Cody one, like we talked about. So,
like these last two matches, like again, I put the AJ Styles Crown Jewel match on there because I thought it was just a finisher fest. It was a fun match, but it's not a top 10 match compared to what we had.
So we're just gonna wipe that one out because I actually hadn't seen that match because I'm not in the ESPN club yet. I will be.
I got you.
But
okay. So yeah, I mean, basically, guys, we're down to 2 matches. We're down to Cena versus Cody or Cena versus Rock at WrestleMania 28.
I want to go Cena Rock so bad.
Plead your case for me right now. We don't have that long.
I'll plead it. I think it was the start of the downfall. It was John Cena's worst year professionally and personally, and it was like watching our hero fade away, essentially. Versus Cody, watching our hero come back. Sure, that was cool, but we really witnessed the worst year of John Cena's career.
And I said it before, I don't think you can tell well, here's the thing. You can't tell Cena's career now without the heel turn, right? That was one of the bigger moments. And him now coming back as a face for the first time against Cody.
Yes, but it was a big moment, but that heel turn did not need to happen.
But it did.
Let's figure this out. Cena Rock happens the next year. So you could have told me, like, you really, I mean, like, I get it. So, like, I get it that what you're saying is that you can tell the story of John Cena without this WrestleMania match. I get it. But it's like, what's the story what's the bookend to this whole retirement tour? So the bookend to his whole career, his defining moment. We're going to see that on December 13th. But for right now, the match that you definitely can't show with me, the match that's definitely skipped over, because guess what, guys? We didn't get the Rock follow-up after the heel turn.
You're right.
We didn't get any of that.
Okay.
So listen. So we didn't get the follow-up of, Cena and The Rock, they have history together from WrestleMania 28. No. Like, nobody mentioned those 2 WrestleMania matches, not one bit after the heel turn. Okay? And it would guys, like, Cena coming out to face Cody like that and the crowd going for crazy for him as a babyface, historically, that would be like a red and yellow Hogan coming back to the WWE in 2002 and just being like, hey, guys, I know you guys love the red and yellow more than you love the NWO, which at that time I'm sure people did. What if Hogan just did that when he faced Austin at WrestleMania? Like, that's the level of, crowd control that Cena had. I think it's so much better match, number one, because you couldn't call it. Again, all these matches that I picked are unpredictable.
There it is. There,
That's what we did. We did
there's
the
why you're
exact,
going to win that.
we
There's
did
where you're
the
going to win that
exact.
argument.
Listen,
You're going to win that argument because you said you couldn't call it, and that's where your selling point is going to turn me, is you couldn't call who was going to win.
well, believe me, guys, and I'm not. And listen, I don't like it. I'm not argumentative when it comes to this stuff. That's the point of this show. But like, and I love your argument too. This was a match that was close on my list. Rock and Cena was close on my list, but you gotta narrow it down. Like,
I'll
Jalen,
take it.
are we in agreement? I think Mike turned you.
I think I look. That's where you're gonna get me, is you couldn't call it. So I put Cody and Cena up there.
Okay.
you don't have to though. I mean, listen.
No. You sold me there, because you're right. You couldn't call it. You couldn't predict what was gonna happen. I was sitting on the edge of my couch like, oh my God, he hit the crossroads. Is this it? Is he gonna beat Cena? And everyone's gonna boom out of the building? Like, oh no.
Okay, guys. So now I think we need to debate the actual top 10. So this is what I have 5-1 in order. And tell me if you agree with this. Number 5, I have the AJ match from SummerSlam 2016. Number 4, I have Shawn in London. 3, I have Edge Unforgiven 06. 2, I have RVD ECW One Night Stand. And 1, I have Punk Money in the Bank 2011.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
So now, here's the back half that we need to debate. Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam 2013. The Punk match on Raw. The Lesnar-Seth Rollins triple threat. The JBO Judgment Day match. And the Cody match at SummerSlam.
Daniel Bryan might be the best one. Yeah. Daniel Bryan's probably.
I would say that goes.
Okay.
That
7,
one,
I would say, would be Punk.
Yeah, on Raw, yeah.
Yeah.
8, do we want to say Lesnar, the triple threat?
Go back and watch JBL because I like that one better.
Okay.
But, well, you can put the triple threat up there. It doesn't matter.
It's very interchangeable, yeah.
Are we saying... So what do you guys think 10 is? Is 10 Cody?
I don't like... I think Cody should be before the one with the steel pipe against Umaga. That's just me.
Steel pipe.
Well, no, Umaga's not on there. We have the JBL.
Or JBL, my fault.
So you think Cody should be 9, JBL 10, triple threat 8?
Yes.
Mike?
So what one? Wait, so what? So read them off to me and I'll put them in order because I'm a little.
Hold on, I'm going to make the graphic real quick.
And then I'll pick. Sorry, I'm giving you a headache.
No, you're good, guys. Give me 1 second. I need to play around with the spacing here. So again, this is not the official graphic. I'll make that known. It's not the official graphic. I'll play around with the spacing. But just so you guys can see it, I'm going to save this right now, and then I'll throw it up on screen. Okay. I am going to add a file here. So you guys should now be able to see if we can. Oops, let me see if I can do this. There we go. Can you guys see that okay? If not, I'll read it off to you.
I can see it.
We have Punk Money in the Bank 2011, RVD One Night Stand, Edge Unforgiven 06, the Shawn Michaels London match, AJ Styles, the Daniel Bryan, CM Punk Raw, Cody for the title, the triple threat, and then JBL Judgment Day 05. Again, I'll play around with the spacing and decide. It's not the official graphic, folks.
I think you pretty much nailed it.
Yeah.
I think that Daniel Bryan could go in the top 5 above of AJ Styles, but I think that's basic. I think that's the only real change I would make to this list. I think Cody deserves to be. I mean, the way I kind of view it is, I think I forget how I did my list, but I think Cody could be higher. I think Daniel Bryan could be higher, but other than that, it looks pretty solid.
We could
Do we want to swap Daniel Bryan? Do you want to go Daniel Bryan 5? Is everybody okay with that?
and then AJ 6, and then if you want, we could do Cody 7 and Punk 8.
Yeah, I mean, they're not that far off. We are just I mean, we're looking into it. I think that looks like a pretty good list if you want to swap that out.
Okay. So I'm swapping everything. So we're going to move Daniel Bryan into number 5. And again, I'm going to have to play around now with the spacing and everything. So, but we'll have Daniel Bryan 5. We'll have, we said AJ 6, right? And then 8 is Punk and 7 is Cody Cena.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect.
Okay. Let me make sure that we have everything down here.
I'm surprised about the love for Rob Van Dam because that's one of my personal favorite matches, but I didn't think it'd necessarily be that high on your guys' list.
Oh, I think the storytelling is amazing in that match.
I think Rob Van Dam's one of the greatest, most entertaining wrestlers ever, in terms of move set, and that had to go up there for me.
All right, guys. Well, we did it. That will conclude John Cena's top 10 matches of all time. We did it. Thank you to these two wrestling historians. I will be there in Washington, D.C. a week from the time that you guys are listening to this to see John Cena's final match. I cannot wait. Boys, you guys are two of my closest friends. You guys are two of the closest guests on the podcast. Thank you for doing this. This was really a fun trip down memory lane. If I had more time on my schedule, we would have spent more time doing this. So I apologize for that. I got a lot of things going on in my personal life. You guys know that. So,
right.
Never seen 17, baby.
Never seen 17. And as we conclude today's Brandon's World, as we've been saying for the last year to end the show on the John Cena Retirement Tour, don't forget to never give up. And we'll see you guys in the next episode of Brandon's World. Thank you to Jalen Sandvick. Thank you to Michael Reiner. You guys are awesome.
Thank you, Brandon.
Like that clip from the Brandon's World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brandon's World podcast right here on YouTube.